Hi guys, in this class we will discuss about what is variable. Variable is a container like thing which store anything. For example, this is a container and we say that this is a variable. So this is a container like thing in which we can store anything else. We will store any data, for example integer, number, alpha, numeric, any numeric string, so boolean value. We can store anything else, any type of data in a variable because it is work like a container in which we store anything else. Variable value may change during the program execution. As you know that name indicate that variable is a thing which change, but in programming language means that in a program, during a program execution, variable value may change. For example, a is a variable and its value is 3, and on the second line I want to change a variable value to 5. So on this line value of a is 3, on this line value of a is 5. So you can see that variable value may change in a same program. Variable is an identifier you have declare and then initialize. Declare means selecting name of variable, writing name of the variable, getting space from a memory. Initialize means providing value to variable. You can see that this is a declaration and 3 is provided to a variable. This is a initialization. In some programming language, declaration of variable is complete on one line and on the second line we start initialization, but in some case like this one, declaration and initialization complete on the same line. So you can see that there are different example of variable. To start a variable, you have to put a dollar sign and then variable name. This is a user defined, and equal sign, this is a assignment operator. 23 is a value that is stored in C variable, and put a semicolon at the end. So this is a method to write a variable, to declare and initialize a variable. So another variable is gender. You have to put a dollar sign equal male. Male is a value of this gender variable. This is a price that written in float. Float means pointing number. So that value is assigned to price variable. You have to put a dollar sign with any variable. Types of variable. There are two types of variable in a PHP programming language. One of them is global. What are the global variable? The variable that is declared outside of any specific block of code. It have global scope. From anywhere we can call. For example, this is a specific block of code starting from here and end here. This area is outside of specific block of code. This is outside. When you declare and initialize any variable outside of specific block of code, for example, you declare a variable and then initialize that variable that is outside of any specific block of code. So you can use this variable inside this specific block of code. It means that it have a global scope. From anywhere in a program you can use this a variable. So local variable, the variable that is declared inside of any specific block of code. It have a limited scope. We can call from only that specific block of code in which it is declared. For example, I declare a variable with name a b and its value is 5. Now in this case it have a limited scope, not a global scope, because this variable is belong to this specific block of code. I cannot use this variable outside of this specific block of code. But if a variable is global, for example a that is declared and initialized outside of a specific block of code, we can use that variable inside or outside of specific block of code. But if there is a variable that is local, we can not access that variable outside of any specific block of code. I will provide different example to clear your concept. Another is a undefined variable. Undefined variable, the variable that is used in a program but not declared. For example, I want to add a plus b. You can see that I want to add result of a and b, but I did not declare and initialize this type of variable. In this case, I will get an error that is an undefined variable. A and b are the undefined variable because they are not defined. We did not provide any value. So the variable that is used in any expression source code for getting result from that variable, but variable is not declared in that program, we say that are the undefined variable. For example, I want to print name value, but you can see that there is no value of name. Echo is the method that is used to output of any variable data value. But in this case, you can see that I want to show a value of name, but there is no value of name because I did not declare or initialize this name variable. This is the same example. I want to add a result of a and b, but you can see that these variables are not declared or initialized. That is why I will get a undefined variable error. So these are different topics that we have discussed in this class. Now I open Visual Studio Code and provide different example to clear your concept about these topics. In a Visual Studio Code, just I have to create a new file and save this file in a XAMPP htdocs and PHP course, and this is a chapter 2, not 3. This is chapter 3 and this is chapter 2 because in a chapter 1 we have discussed theoretical things, theoretical topics. This is chapter 3 and file name is variable.php. Now file is created. Now HTML basic structure, PHP variables. Now what we have to do, we have to get a h1 PHP variables. Now what we have to do, so first of all, method of declaring variable is that $sign any variable name. This is user defined name, and if you want to provide alphanumeric data or alpha, you have to put a double quotation, but you have to use a PHP tags at first too. Inside this tag we can write code of PHP. For example, $sign variable name equals sign, and this is a double quotation that is used to provide alpha numeric or alpha type of data to variable. Put a semicolon at the end. For example, Faisal Zamir. This is a string type of data. About data type we have discussed in electrical classes. Now this variable is declared and initialized. Declaration of variable means writing variable name, and initialization is the providing value to that variable. So I want to display this variable value. Just I will use a echo name, put a semicolon, open a browser, localhost, and localhost slash PHP course, our folder name, and that is chapter 3 chapter 2. Sorry, I have made some mistake. I just copy paste. So refresh this one and chapter 3 variables.php. You can see that variable value is displaying here. So Faisal Zamir is a variable value, that is a name. So another is a, for example, a is a variable that contains 9 value, and the value is of b is 10, and then I want to see result of variable a plus variable b. So it will display result. You can see that 19 is displaying here. I want to get a new line. There are different methods So I will use a PHP tag, that is a line break. You can use PHP with HTML also. Inside PHP coding you can use HTML tag in double quotation. So you can see that on the new line it is displaying. Now what I have to do, you can change this symbol to get subtraction result and also get a new line. And also I want to copy and paste here to get a division result, to get multiplicative result, and see the result. You can see that arithmetic operations are performed on the variable values a and b. So another is a undefined variable. For example, I want to print age. There is no such type of age variable, so that is why I will get an error. You can see that this is an undefined variable. Age is an undefined variable because I did not define this one. When I provide value to this age variable, for example 10, now error will be removed and value of age will be displayed. 10 is displaying, that is a value of age variable. So another is a local and global scope of variable. For example, there are different types of specific block of code. One of them is function, classes, and loops. So these create a specific block of code. I will discuss about function, loops, and in OOP PHP course we will discuss about classes. So now I want to tell you about local and global scope, just to clear your concept. That is why I am using function. About function we will discuss in later classes. Just you have to type function and function name, for example myfunc, and parenthesis and curly braces. So you can see that this is a body of the function. Between starting curly braces and ending curly braces, this is a specific block of code. When you declare any variable inside this specific block of code, for example course equal to Python or PHP, we are learning PHP. So when I want to echo echo course. Now if you want to execute coding of function, then you have to call that function. Just type name of that function with parenthesis. It will execute all the code inside function. Don't worry about this function syntax because about function we have to discuss in later classes. In this class I have to clear your concept about local and global variable. When I execute this file, you can see that PHP is displaying here. For example, I want to call this variable outside of that specific block of code. You can see that syntax error, unexpected token. So this is another error. Put a semicolon and refresh. You can see that undefined variable. Course is an undefined variable. This PHP value is displaying due to this calling, but when I write this code to print value of course variable from outside specific block of code, that is why I am getting an error. For example, creating another variable C and its value is 43. I want to see the value of C variable. When I refresh, you can see that undefined variable, but this is a defined and also initialized because it is a local variable. You can use this variable only inside this specific block of code, not outside. But these all the variables as we declare, for example a, b, and name, these are the variable that are global. We can use this variable in anywhere. For example, I want to echo value of name variable inside specific block of code. It will display value of name variable because name is a global variable that is declared outside of any specific block of code. When I refresh, you can see that name is undefined Actually, you have to make a global. For that reason, in PHP we use a keyword global to make this one our work as global variable. When I refresh, you can see that Fasal Zamir is displaying here. So in this way, you can see that we can make a difference between local and global variable. The variable that is declared and initialized outside of any specific block of code that is considered as global variable. The variable that is declared and initialized inside any specific block of code, we say that that is a local variable. Local variable is used only in that specific block of code in which it is declared, but global variable can be accessed from anywhere in the program.